Guys, welcome back to the channel. Doing another video here. This is, I guess you can consider it a part of my real true event stories of me experiencing the paranormal for myself. This is probably the most, I'm flustered, I can't even speak properly, but to talk about this is really diving deep into something that, on one hand, yes, scared the hell out of me. And on another hand, I'm very thankful for. I'm very thankful that I had this moment to experience this because it was like a moment of realization that everything that I actually had seen in life that I could not explain were confirmed when I saw this full body apparition of a demon I saw. This took place back in 2014, 2015. It was a year or like not too far off from when I was graduating high school. Me and my friend Michael, you guys know him on the channel, he used to come over all the time, film all the time, and everything like that. We hung out a lot in school. We used to do this stuff all the time, going out to the woods, experiencing things, but we didn't record. This was almost a personal kind of gain thing. We just wanted to get answers for ourselves. One of the most unsettling, and the reason why it was one of the most unsettling is because it came out of nowhere. This was around a time where we were just not focused on the paranormal. We weren't talking about it. It just happened. And at that point, there was already a good possibility Michael was being followed by something, because he had told me a story beforehand where he thinks he came in contact with a shapeshifter, something or an entity that would take the form of somebody he knew just to kind of get close to him or scare him after everything. And why it scared me, and why it was kind of awesome at the same time. So it was at that window. That window, I used to have a trunk, and the trunk came to me from my neighbor, who is now deceased, by the way. She passed away about a year or so ago. That's kind of a neat trunk, if you wouldn't mind if I could have that. She was completely okay with it. She was like, oh yeah, no, take it. I'm not using it. And I took it, and it was like a big trunk. It was huge. It was black, it had gold. And I took it, and I put it in front of the window that you see right here. I put it in front of that window, and I again, this is uncertain where the thing appeared from, why it appeared, where it came from. I don't know. I thought it could have been following Michael, but at the same time, it's like it had been attached to that trunk room. I didn't have no space, so I just put it in front of the window and hope for the best. Michael decided to stay the night that night. He decided to sleep in front of the trunk, so we put out a couple blankets, a pillow, and he slept in front of the trunk. So he passed out, I passed out. And I would give it about 4 or 5 hours, and I finally woke up. And normally when I wake up, my vision's blurry. Okay, I don't have the best eyesight. Hello, glasses, but I don't have the best eyesight. So this was really peculiar to me because I woke up and I was actually kind of awake. Yet I know I just woke up, so I'm surprised I didn't have like my blurry vision or anything, and I was just not yawning or nothing. But I definitely was more awake when I looked in front of me. On top of the trunk was this, if I had to guess what it was, I would say demonic entity. It was demonic. It didn't look human. It wasn't human. Whatever it wasn't human. Scoping my room. It didn't do anything else besides scope my room. It was crouched over like a gargoyle, looking around my room, moving its jaw back and forth like this. But his jaw was out farther than the rest of his face, if that makes any sense. Like, it was, you know, the ogres, the orcs from World of Warcraft, you know how like their jaw comes out? It kind of looked like that, but like more on one side than the other side. It had a couple teeth sticking out. You can see its gums. His skin was a kind of yellowish tint to it, but some parts of it were like shiny, almost as if it had gold on its face. One of his ears were kind of bent downwards. The other one was pointing up. He had plucks of hair coming out of his head, where if I think I'm seeing something, I close my eyes and I open it, and I'm hoping that it's gone. I did that 4 times. 4 fucking times I did that, and he was still sitting on that trunk. I didn't feel afraid, which was one of the weird things. You normally think I would have been petrified, but I just kind of looked at him like, oh, this is happening right now. It was one of the most bizarre situations I've ever been in, because I feel like I should have been like screaming my ass off or just petrified with fear. I wasn't even scared of him. And Michael was completely passed out in front of him. Like, Michael was literally underneath him. He was right there. If he wanted to leap on top of Michael, he could have. But nope, he was just scouting the room, looking around, just didn't look at me or nothing. Like, I was irrelevant to him. And after like the 5th time of opening and closing my eyes, he was just gone. He was no longer there. I was shown it for a reason. I actually said that too. I was like, I feel like God showed me it. I feel like he allowed me to see this thing because in a sense, he wanted me to be aware that these things are out there. And it was interesting because I never told Michael about it. I decided not to tell him about it. If I had to give you like a quick brief example, I would say, you know those statues in front of the Chinese restaurants? When you go out to a Chinese restaurant, you see those golden giant dragon statues? That's how I would describe the face of this thing, because the gold, the teeth, and everything. And I remember it was probably about 4 or 5 months, could have been about a year later, and not really telling Michael anything specific about the thing. And he said to me, and I'll never forget this, and in the back of my head, I was telling myself, do not say what I think you're going to say. But what happened was he came over and he had a heat flash. He was just laying on the ground and he just said, I had a face just pop in my head. Like a random face. It was like a heat flash moment. He literally grabbed his head and he was like, I just had a face pop in my head and I can't explain it. It was bizarre for sure. And I said, okay, Michael, if you had to describe that thing by using one description, how would you describe it? And I will never forget what he said to me. I'll never forget. I'm actually getting emotional talking about it. I'll never forget what he said to me. And in the back of my mind, I was like, do not say what I think you're going to say. Do not say what I think you're going to say. I quote, he said this to me. He said, you know, in Wilmington, Ohio, you know, in Wilmington, at that Chinese restaurant, those dragon statues, and I lost my shit. I was like, you did not just say that. You did not just tell me that. And he looked at me, his eyes got watery, and he started smiling, and he's like, what? And he's like, that's exactly what I saw hovering over you that night. That's exactly how I would describe it. That's exactly. And it was crazy that he had to say something so specific like that. At that point, I had confirmation of what I saw. Like, it was 100%. I couldn't believe he said that to me. I felt like I was meant to see it. I felt like I was being shown this thing for a reason. Honest to God, I'm thankful that I got to see it. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. I know I not talking as professional as a lot of YouTubers probably would talk about this, but I feel like I'm talking to you guys as I'm venting. I'm venting about it. I'm not talking about it. I'm venting it to you guys, my community, my subscribers. So I hope this video was informative. I hope this was interesting to you. So comment down below again, subscribe if you guys want to support us even farther. We have a Patreon page. We are almost at our first goal, and we hope to do more goals. Genuinely, me and Michael and my buddies want to go out and actually explore abandoned places and stuff like that, but we just don't have the money for it. So Patreon is the best place for that. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully that thing does not... I hope I haven't given that thing a reason to come back and show itself, you know? So, keep it retro, guys, and take care. Holy shit, Michael. We made it to We Slaughtered Barbecue. The epitome and the purpose of our trip is to make it to this area.
Oh yes. Food and cattle.
Yep. I just noticed, is that a cemetery way over there, or are those cattle?
No, I think that is a small cemetery.
Holy shit, that's kind of cool and creepy. That thing is massive, but there's not just that one. There are spiders literally
There's
everywhere.
one there. There's one there. There's one over there. And then there's this one here.
Dude, they're everywhere on the property.
Huge.
It's
Oh,
cool.
there's one there.